project. So.
Well, to be fair, we've been a part of those discussions. You know, and they as well have had difficulty actually getting engagement from ABS on that. So, you know, it is sort of one of those things. Okay, let me just,
Was Craig in the waiting room?
he was.
Yeah.
We may have some additional people coming in for the DRC meeting soon.
We're good?
We are good.
Okay, so we've come
Yeah,
back out of
texted me.
executive session. The only matter that stands is to adjourn the meeting. First,
So move.
second, okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained, we stand adjourned and can move to our alphabet, the agency JCIDA.
Shit. Hold on one quick second. It's gonna
You better
take
be
a
ready.
minute to get going here.
I don't think there are any transactions.
Fair.
No, this is for
Can we start?
JCCFDC.
I have to tell one person who's gonna be joining us.
This isn't the DRC.
We're not, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
I was wondering who's not here.
Right, we're all here.
Okay,
but please.
so, anyway, so the Civic Facility Development Corp., with minutes from October 2nd, page 3, reviewed, received, motion to accept, please.
So move.
First.
Second.
And David second. Any discussion, barring any, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained, the minutes are accepted. Paul, you can talk about this treasurer's report. Page 4.
There's no transactions, and the only thing I notice in it, since it's the first I looked at it, is the age received. There's some age receivables totaling $7,750.
Yeah,
They're
they're
0 to 30 days. Those are the annual fees. So other than that, it's a busy month for them.
A lot of zeros.
Quick question. We've got a lot of money sitting here.
What, $36,000?
Well, 40,000.
We got 40,000. Can't we move that over to the IDA where it's needed?
I was gonna suggest keep 15, because I think we have an audit on this one, or is this, I can't remember if this has a big value for audit.
I think it's paired in with the other.
Oh, so actually we could remove
think
like
it's in-
35,000 easily then.
If you move it, you can always move it back, can't you?
I'm sure.
Question, Dorina.
Well, we got accounts receivable.
Shaking her head no.
50 anyway.
Yeah, but if you would have told it, we got 40, so even if you.
Why don't we wait a month and decide it? I mean,
Okay.
moving it over today after we just moved $1.5 million from the LDC to the IDA, I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference.
I was gonna suggest.
You could always put it under the ag program.
No, you would spend it.
All right, I think we got a first and a second, or no? Yeah, all in favor of the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstained? Where there are no committees, are there any unfinished?
Let me ask one question. The rec facility proposed in the town of Watertown, would that be a facility that would be possibly going through this agency?
Why not?
No.
And I'm only asking because I don't.
Because this is for non-for-profits and.
Okay, gotcha.
And like that. We would be able to bond through the IDA.
Okay.
Any
If
other
they
business?
change the structure of their ownership to where it's an LDC that owns and runs it, then they potentially could.
I think it's still for profit.
They'd have to, yeah. See, we were able to do Smarten because Smarten is considered a non-for-profit. And of course, the county, JCC, you know,
Does the
that's why
bond
we were
really
able
go
to
through
do
that?
these through here.
Okay.
Any other business? Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? We stand adjourned, and now we can go to the meeting that
To the
you were
DRC.
trying to schedule.
Welcome, Sarah.
Hello.
So, I guess I'll just kind of kick it off. John, I believe you're.
Call the meeting to order?
Yep.
Yes. The meeting's called to order.
Yes. So, quick little sort of update. I know we talked about this last month, or did we? No, we did not. It was
No.
10:10. We had a tour of the DeFerriet facility. There's been an incredible amount of work that's taken place at DeFerriet. It is not without its challenges, but we are moving through the Restore grant and cleaning up the site. We found a couple of issues in that the site is not going to be at grade, and there are some really large ledges. And we're talking 20, 30 feet in a couple spots, maybe more, where it needs to be secured. The site will need to be secured moving forward, and that's really kind of where we're at. The cost of the remediation piece has been higher than anticipated, and I think, I don't really want to say that it wasn't expected, but these costs are substantial. And I feel like, in some ways, what we were expecting at the end of the tunnel on this remediation project is probably not where we're going to actually be at the end of this project, or at the end of the Restore grant funds. There's going to be ongoing costs, including fencing of the site. It's not going to be a park, which I think, and not to say that it was expected to be a park necessarily, but there's going to have to be some security at the site because of these ledges, because of voids under the ground, where like garages get filled in or voids get filled in that were cut into the, in some cases it appears like they were cut into the rock. So the site and redevelopment of the site is going to be challenging. We do have a BOA that encompasses the town of DeFerriet, not just the site. And so there's a number of parcels that are still going to be ripe for development, as well as the site itself. There's been some talk about how we do move forward, and if we are able to get a project on there, where could we site the project and potentially move the fence back to cover the parts that need to be secured. But there are a couple of spots that still, we could foresee some development happening. What do you think? Did I sum that up?
You did. We got a couple of housekeeping things to do kind of before we get into anything else. We got minutes from March 6th, May 1st, and October 10th that I don't think have ever been accepted.
No.
We probably ought to do.
I jumped ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I guess just before we get too far into the conversation,
I'll make a motion.
do I have a motion and a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So those are accepted. We'll get that little bit of housekeeping out of the way. We don't have any committees at this point. So I guess, Marshall, I think one of the things was, an update, which I believe you've given.
Yeah.
At this point, we've got some things that we need certainly to address that came out of the last meeting in terms of ongoing expenses. We also have some questions, I think from the DRC's perspective. The objective was, Ryan and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but once the remediation work was done, the demolition was done, that property would be turned over from the county to the DRC. There are also, it appeared to me, doing a little investigating, to be some properties, some parcels that are still owned by Champion.
Yes, that would be the site of, I would refer to it as like the area where they're taking the refuse that has a cap on it.
So I think it might be, at some point we've got to
It's not
engage
Champion, it's International Paper.
International. paper.
international paper.
Yes, thank you.
Champion International? No, it's international paper.
International bought all,
They bought
bought
all our assets.
everything.
And now they've since been told us.
Okay. So I just have some questions on, what properties are ultimately going to be included in what the DRC is responsible for, and then talking about long-term ongoing responsibility of the DRC as far as the site security, et cetera, and ongoing expenses. I mean, DRC at this point doesn't have any.
To be clear, the DRC is only responsible for that. That is part of the Deferia Development Corporation, that particular parcel.
Okay. All right.
I guess the question, we had talked about the old post office
Mhm.
site. Was that something the county was gonna look to divide off this before the DRC takes over? I think it
So,
would be,
yeah, so a little bit of quick background on that. There's the post office, which is right outside the gate of that particular site. It was a falling down. The village it felt like very focused on getting that building torn down. It has since been torn down. It's graded and it looks nice. Now the question is, what do we do with that parcel? There was some interest potentially by a neighbor to buy or acquire that parcel. The town had, and I know it sounds small, but the town or the village had mentioned, oh, well, who's going to mow it? And so it might be in our interest to sell off or transfer that parcel to a neighbor or someone who may be interested. Maybe not even the neighbor per se, but getting that parcel back on the tax rolls. So that one particular piece on the post office, the village is pleased that it's been cleaned up. So there is that positive thing. And we also talked with the treasurer in that meeting, who had expressed concern about potential loss of tax revenue as if the DRC, as well as the county being tax exempt organizations, they will not be receiving about $24,000 in tax revenue moving forward on that. The treasurer had said that they're going to be able to work with that, and we're pleased, and it was a very productive meeting with the treasurer, as well as just the meeting itself. So, yes.
I think with the post office property, I believe, I think the county's position would be very influenced by what the redevelopment committee would like. We don't have any particular interest if, that is a part of a future development, then it would move us to keep it.
Yeah.
If we don't feel that it has any, value as future development, then, but I don't think there's strong feelings, on that. I think that the redevelopment corporation wants to parcel that off. We'd probably accept the recommendation of that committee.
It's about a quarter of an acre.
Yeah.
So redevelopment of that is but we would definitely like to explore that.
Ryan, is there an update on the project itself?
Yes. So Sabre has been the county's contractor there. At this point, we are certain that this project with Sabre is going to continue into next spring. So when the weather starts coming, they will pack up for the year, but they have to come back. So what you'll see out there if you did the tour is they are continuing to knock things down and sort the debris. What they'll leave for the winter is piles of debris that have been sorted, and then they can continue the hauling in the spring. So that will be mostly done. But to Marshall's point, there are several, ledges and pits and things that aren't, really safe for public access. We do have some quotes on what it would take to put some fencing up. So I'm kind of lost track of where that is, to be honest with you. I'm waiting for Dylan to text me back, but we've got some quotes for that. It's not cheap. We had one quote for 120,000, another quote for 65,000. But depending on where we are with that fund, the county's got money in there. We might be able to cover that. But to the taxes, I know the legislator, Dan McBride, that represents Teferi in the town of Wilna, he's concerned about that as well. But I mean, the county has made the town and village and school district whole for that property out of everybody else's taxes across the county for many, many years. And, they're going to receive less value because there is no value there now. It's a vacant site. And unfortunately, that's the reality of the situation. So I get it, it's a tough blow for a small budget, but
I think at a minimum, the existing perimeter fence needs to be repaired.
Yep.
At a very minimum, I would like to see that done, soon.
Yeah.
Soon, because that's,
Was a condition of the grant to in its final state of cleanup to provide public access to parts of that or develop
No.
walkways or anything. So literally to take care of the perimeter fence, you don't have to worry about any internal fencing for ledges and stuff, right?
Yes,
I
true.
suppose yeah, that's true. But I believe that was a temporary fence.
The one that's up there now,
Yeah,
it was.
So I mean, we
initially
can
installed.
repair it and patch it, but it's not gonna be there. It's not designed to be there for 10 years. So.
well, it had a perimeter fence around it when the plant was operational.
Mhm.
And if you go over the area along 3A by the old waste plant, that fence is
Yeah.
down in that area, and that needs to
Yeah.
be repaired.
I agree. I think that should be a fall project before the weather gets done here.
In
we
your
need to secure
estimates
the
that
site.
you received, what fencing was that exactly for?
It was for, I've got a schematic. Dank continues to kind of be the project engineer on this. So it is 1,200 linear feet of fencing along the canal and 600 linear feet of fencing along, you have to imagine the right side where the rail bed was up top and they would dump the coal down into those pits. And there was a building there. Well, that building's gone. So that is now a new ledge that didn't exist before. That's 600 linear feet.
So did they evaluate the site to say, here's where you need fences?
Yes.
But that doesn't include a perimeter fence around the whole property.
That I don't know.
I would say no.
And not on
Doesn't
this
sound like it.
particular thing that I have here.
Doesn't sound like
to Dave's point, there might be areas that it's already in good shape or we just need to patch,
Right.
But we need a full, probably perimeter walk there.
And who's gonna take the lead on that?
Well, the county still owns the property, so I mean, I'm assuming the Ferry Redevelopment Corporation doesn't have 100 grand for fencing.
have
so-
no
We do.
We have no budget.
Doesn't Brookfield own the canal though?
They do.
Right, so that was
So
part
they
of
own
the,
the canal, so they should be taking care of anything along the canal.
There's not a whole lot, so the fencing now, and there are apparently some voids in the fencing, down where you sort of behind where the ledges are. I almost wish we could have brought maybe put the picture up. So as far as fencing along the canal, there really wouldn't be much to it. It's sort of weird. It's like sort of Brookfield will be fenced off because they happen to be in the center of the site. But beyond that, I don't really know how that would work. As far
I
as
can put
any sort of
I don't know who's on there, but I can email this and you can put it up
Yeah,
to you, Marshall.
email it to JEFFCO, Jeff Co, ECDEV, ECDEV@gmail.com.
Okay, there's just an attachment on the bottom.
Somebody's gonna get it.
So is the county gonna stand the gap financially between the final bill and the cleanup grant?
Well, the final bill will be what the grant covers. Whatever's left is a separate project that there's no county money has not yet been appropriated for. So when we're done with Sabre, we have nothing else planned at that point. But I mean, you could double what we spent there. I mean, you can keep digging and cleaning, and I mean, it depends on, what that's fast, what the vision for the site is, so. I mean, I think this has been pretty well talked about. I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, but one of the, we have to get that RFI for the, to the Power Authority for the nuclear. This was one of the sites that we were considering. I mean, that would be a great redevelopment opportunity.
There you go.
But you can see the blue is the new fencing there. So you see the south ledge that I was talking about where the rail cars came through, that 600 linear feet, then along the canal. So that's what Dank recommended, along with repairing what's there, as Dave said.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brookfield is right here.
Well,
No,
they're in the middle of the,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the river.
This thing right here?
Yeah.
Right there, okay. So I guess,
And
this
there's
is
never been
here, this is all along.
Generator?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're currently doing, I believe it was 8.6 megawatts of power. They have 3 4-megawatt generators. I did talk to the folks over at Brookfield, and because of potential redevelopment opportunities, couldn't really speak on the record about as far as how much power they could provide a project, but they could do a potentially, again, if we are able to cite something there, something possibly behind the meter, where those generators could feed a project directly, which could provide a fairly significant amount of power.
I mean, I think
the real asset of the site.
I think if the redevelopment corporation has, some recommendations for what needs to be done with the site before we turn it over, I think now would be the time to compile those and let us know. I mean, I don't think the county, timing is everything here, but, one more year, okay, of, making everybody whole on an assessment, that's not realistic. But I don't think, that needs to continue any longer than one more year.
Ryan, have they done any site mapping, topographic or anything of that nature? Because that would be very helpful in trying to figure out a plan for the site. I walked it and I think there's opportunity there, but we really got to have something that we can look at to plan with.
There are a number of different maps that have been developed over the course of that restore. I'm not sure from a grade perspective. I don't remember seeing anything specific, but
I think if I'm not mistaken, the contractor may have had to get some surveying done.
I would imagine
I'm trying to
so.
think back to the original RFP, but they may have been in there.
I don't.
And also, I'm sorry.
No.
Geotech survey, something that looks at, what is the composition of the site, especially in those areas that has potential for development.
So these types of things that you're talking about, Jay, we have to do all those things if we're going to be serious about redevelopment.
Yeah.
But that's precisely what your brownfield opportunity area, the BOA, program is supposed to do.
Right.
Is we've got the Restore New York grant, the local taxpayers, put in their part. Now the brownfield opportunity area is designed to set it up for future. So I don't know, that's kind of Sarah's lane. I'm not a real BOA. I went through it with Lions Falls, but there's a lot of money through state and federal with brownfield opportunities.
One of the interesting things about this, a lot of this is modeled off after the experience in Lions Falls as well. And the sites themselves are remarkably similar.
This is about 10
So-
times bigger.
Sarah's still on. Sarah,
Yeah,
can you give us an update on the BOA project and where
yeah,
it's
sure can. So we're nearing the end of development of the plan. With what we've learned about Restore New York and the progress made and what still needs to be done, I actually had a conversation with our consultants, EDR, and I think what we're going to try to do is add into the plan the next steps for what's not done, right? So what Restore New York didn't cover on that site, we want to make sure that that's included in the BOA plan, so that when we seek the designation, and if you're not familiar with BOA, that's really the purpose, is we do this plan, which involves the community and getting input from the community about what they would like to see as a vision for the future of their municipality. In the end, the goal is to get a designation as a BOA community. And what that does is it puts you as a community ahead of others when you're applying for future funding. So, I've been saying this a lot lately, but we were really fortunate with doing the BOA and also parallel to that, having this Restore New York. That's not typical. Typically, we do the BOA plan, and then part of our implementation is, after we've been designated as a BOA community, our implementation plan is then to go and get Restore New York funding to do the work that Jefferson County has been doing in the area. So the fact that we've been doing this parallel is pretty unusual. It's not the typical way that BOA communities work. So we've been really, really fortunate. So we're nearing the end. We are at the draft nomination plan phase. We want to add in to that what still needs to be done on the site from the Restore New York. And then it's a matter of getting Department of State approval and getting that designation so that we can move forward with phase 2 or the implementation of the ideas that we came up with through the BOA plan.
The nice thing about this site is it's about 10 miles from Interstate 81, relatively easy access. You've got the power plant there. There's lots of land. So, I mean, there's some potential there.
And there's some spots on the parcel which are flat and which are in fairly good shape for redevelopment.
So Marshall and Sarah, could we set up a meeting with maybe a couple of DRC folks
EDR folks?
and EDR folks and Sarah to talk about this BOA draft before it gets finalized?
Yes, this was, and this is kind of why we're doing this a little bit, because the things that and why EDR is not in this meeting, because wanted to update the DRC previously because of these things that we've discovered at the site and the changes in the potential redevelopment. We needed to talk about that amongst ourselves first, because it does impact how the BOA is moving forward. And since they are moving parallel, I think that there were some assumptions made that have had to have been changed.
Right.
Yeah, but absolutely we will do that.
So we need to have that meeting sooner than
Soon.
later.
Yep.
Yeah, I think once the draft has been prepared, they're going to send it on to me. So the contract that we have is the town of Wilmette is the lead on the project. The village of the Ferry is a joint partner. So the draft is going to come to me and it's going to go to the Department of State as well at the same time for us to review it. So, we'll get that to you when that comes to, so that we can all be looking at it and make comments and keep this moving forward.
Okay.
So, moving back to the DRC, there's a couple questions I have. First off, we gotta find a funding source. But I think a big thing is insurance. Now, we are formed from the IDA, correct?
Mhm.
So does the IDA umbrella insurance cover us as officers of the DRC too?
I'm going to look into that.
Justin might.
I don't know, Justin.
We're like the sole shareholder, all, so it seems like.
Yeah, the IDA is the sole member, so the D&O policy that the IDA carries should pick up And you should check with your carrier that the DRC board and its directors are picked up as an affiliate. So
Okay.
definitely check on that.
But that wouldn't include property casualty or,
No.
you know, on the site,
But
right?
it covers,
You don't
the
own it yet,
officers.
but at some point, if there is a transition from the county to the DRC for management, at that point in time, you'd want liability, casualty, and, insurances that are appropriate for the risk. So that can be priced out at the time that the county does look to surplus the property, once it's remediated to the point where the county is not involved anymore.
Well, I mean, I think that's going to happen, in 2026 for sure. So
Okay.
I think it'd be a good idea to get an insurance quote. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's unreasonable that the county turns over the property with some, startup funds of some kind. I'd love to see the town of Wilna, put some skin in the game in terms of startup costs and insurance. But I think we could probably figure out a way to help, get it moving instead of just dropping a property in your guys' lap. So.
Yeah, there's a couple of other housekeeping items that we should chase down in the short term. The DRC is a New York State not-for-profit corporation. It's a local development corporation. We all know that. We're all caught up on state law with PAAA and all of the required policies and registrations. That's good. If and when the property does change hands from the county to DRC doesn't have an automatic real property tax exemption. So technically right now, if you took title today, you don't have the ability to go to the assessor and say, make this exempt. It would become fully taxable at what it's assessed at, which that's not the intended consequence. So in terms of housekeeping, what we can do, and I think it probably makes sense in the next few months to focus on it, is to file and I know we have a draft prepared, but we need to chase down the final details. The IRS application for 501c3 recognition as a supporting organization of the county through the IDA. Once you have a 501c3, which takes 4 to 6 months, right now, God knows with the government closed, but once you have the 501c3 designation from the IRS, then you can go to the local assessor and say, I'm a not-for-profit, I'm owning this property in furtherance of my mission, make me exempt, much like a YMCA hospital, museum, college, or otherwise. So I think we have a little bit of housekeeping to do to get that lined up. So you have the ability to exempt the property the minute the county gives you a deed. So we just need to chase down some internal housekeeping stuff.
Dorena, when the taxes are levied, what's the timing on that? I mean, if we still own it, which we will, when the taxes are levied, then the county's responsible for one more year of.
Basically, not the first 3 months of the new year is when the town's made whole.
Right.
And then settling with the town. So basically this, for 2026, town and county taxes have already been
When
covered.
is school?
School
September.
is fall. Yeah, September 1.
Well, then the county's paying for 26 anyway. But,
So the village is-
They're getting one more year, right?
Better get the fence up.
Yeah.
I was hoping the taxes would
Yeah.
go down in taxes.
Well,
Justin,
All
did you have
school
a
taxes will be levied off the 26 roll, which won't be
Oh.
compiled until.
March
This year,
one.
the school taxes are on September.
Okay.
School
It has to be
assessor
done by-
and tell them, "Hey, listen, we're doing this. We
Okay.
lowered
Thank you,
the
Sarah.
assessments." And now-
Yeah.
Any other topics, Marshall, that we need to, meetings we need to schedule, anything of that nature?
Nope.
Next move?
Next move will be us getting together with the BOA folks
Right.
and then we'll move forward on this IRS thing. I guess the timeframe right there changed considering the
Okay,
taxes piece, but yeah.
All right.
501c3 doesn't become.
Thank you, Sarah.
Marshall, can I ask just one question?
Yes, please do.
Unless there's been a
So,
change in law
One of the
since I
things
left.
that EDR was hoping to get was from the group that's doing the work in DeFerry right now is their ideas of what the next steps would be, so that we could have that, more detailed for the BOA plan. If we could get their ideas of what the next steps on that site should be.
Do you mean by that, you mean the company doing the remediation?
Yes.
Sabre?
By
Okay.
the demolition crew, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep, so if everything's not gonna get done that we had anticipated getting done, what still needs to be done and what does that look like? We'd like to get an idea of that so that we can put that in the plan.
Gotcha, perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
All right.
Okay,
How
Thank
long
you.
ago?
are we
I
adjourned?
think, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.